is David Shinn. He's a former U.S. ambassador to Ethiopia and Burkina Faso and a professor at George Washington University here in Washington, D.C. Ambassador, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Anand.
When we look at this attack in Nairobi, what does it tell us about Al-Shabab's strategy?
I think it tells us that Al-Shabab was looking for an opportunity to make the world aware that it was still alive and well. We haven't heard a great deal from Al-Shabab in the last year or so. It has been severely pushed back by the African Union forces inside Somalia. It still occupies a couple of regional towns in Somalia and still has an impact in parts of the country, but it does not occupy anywhere near the territory that it once did. This is a statement that we're still able to cause mayhem, and they clearly have done that.
And in pursuit of causing mayhem and getting the consequent publicity with that, we understand that there could be hostages in this situation. It's very murky at this moment because the Kenyan government says that most of the hostages have been freed, but we understand that some of them may still be held by the gunmen, and this could continue.
Well, I have no different information than you do on that, and I don't think we know with any certainty what the status is concerning hostages. But the fact that they have held hostages as long as they did has sort of dragged out the news possibilities for this story at least into one more day. And I suspect that's what they wanted, and that's why they kept their hostages for a while.
Right. When we look at Al-Shabab, does an incident like this, an attack like this, with such a high death toll, tell us that they're receiving money right now, they strengthen, they have better equipment, they have more people fighting for them?
I think that's an interesting point, and I think the tendency is to say, well, it clearly shows that they're a stronger organization. I would disagree with that to some extent. It shows that they have a strength when it comes to their ability to organize and plan and to send to a neighboring country a team of 10 to 15 persons who can cause a lot of damage. And also are willing to die in the process, because I think when this is all said and done, they will either all be captured or be killed. But I would argue that more importantly, it's an element of weakness in that this is an asymmetrical attack on a soft target, an undefended mall, which virtually anyone could attack if they were so inclined to do so. And Al-Shabaab has chosen to do this because it's relatively easy to do. What they do not do these days is to confront directly the African Union peacekeeping forces in Somalia, including the Kenyan force, or for that matter, even the Somali government forces, because they are not, in my view, able to go toe-to-toe with these military forces. They can do guerrilla attacks, and that's about it. So in that sense, it's a sign of weakness. They control less territory today by far than they did a year ago.
And it's a pattern, isn't it? This is not the first time they've hit soft targets like this.
No, it's not the first time at all. In fact, in July of 2010, they attacked a restaurant in Kampala, Uganda, and killing approximately 70 people there. They have also carried out more than a dozen small attacks inside Kenya, some of them just across the Somali border, but others in Mombasa, the seaport town, and Nairobi, the capital city, where 2, 3, 4 people were killed in some of those acts of terrorism.
We often hear that Al-Shabaab is aligned with Al-Qaeda. Does it get material support from Al-Qaeda?
Probably gets modest material support, or at least has historically. Al-Shabaab acknowledges that it is aligned with Al-Qaeda, and Al-Qaeda seemingly has reciprocated the alliance with Al-Shabaab. My guess is that there has been a certain amount of training that they have obtained from Al-Qaeda Central, maybe some very modest financial support, although Al-Shabaab traditionally has been fairly self-sufficient in raising its own funds, and possibly some highly specialized equipment that it's unable to procure in Somalia or in the Horn of Africa, where arms are awash throughout that region.
One of the reasons we hear that this attack was carried out was because Al-Shabaab wants to force Kenyan troops in the African peacekeeping force who are in Somalia out of the country. Are they going to get what they want there?
I don't think so. I think, on the contrary, the Kenyans will probably do what the Ugandan forces did when the Al-Shabaab attacked Kampala in July of 2010. Uganda actually stepped up its military activity inside Somalia. It sent more troops into the peacekeeping operation in Somalia. and took a very, very tough line against Al-Shabab. My guess is the Kenyans will do the same thing. Having said that, I would argue that the sooner the Kenyans can leave southern Somalia, the better, because it's always better to have the Somali government forces maintain security on their own rather than have foreign forces there. But this is not the time for them to pull out. That would be an indication of defeat following a major terrorist attack on their homeland, and I just can't imagine that the Kenyans are prepared to do that.
Ambassador, thanks for joining us.